Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about core activation. It's not going to be super long or in depth, but just like a general overview to help you with your clients and help you coach them through different movements with dumbbells, barbells, anything else that we need to coach our clients through. So Josh is going to be our levy demonstratee today. So I'm going to have him start on the treadmill first. So I don't know if you guys really like look at different ways that people walk, like just walking around the street and here in the gym, but it's very drastic when you can notice if someone is like engaging their core or not. So throughout normal life, people don't usually think about this. So I don't know if you could see, but Josh is not entirely has zero muscle engagement right now. His hips are swinging all over the place. His shoulders are kind of rounded forward, not really using muscles or thinking about what he's doing, which is how a lot of our clients act either in the real world or here in the gym, just walking around. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how to change change your clients thinking about muscle engagement during everyday activities like walking so that they can come in here to the gym and actually make gains when you tell them to do different movements. And when you say use your core during certain movements to protect their low back and different parts of their body, they'll actually know what you're talking about. So Josh, go ahead and come on down. So we're going to start with him on the floor in what's called a hook lying position. So go ahead onto your back with your knees bent up, please. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck his shirt up a little bit here. If you can see, there's a space between his low back and the floor, which is normal. It should be there. Your spine naturally curves at the bottom. So when we say use your core, when people are doing abdominal exercises in this position, the first thing I tell my clients to think about is pushing their low back into the ground and making no space between their spine and the floor, just so that they get full abdominal engagement and everything is working there. So there are a few ways to coach people through this. The most simple one usually is if you put your hand under their low back, and then you can say, push your back into my hand. There we go, good. And relax. One more time. And relax. So it's hard to see on camera just because it's such a small movement, but his low back pretty much collapsed into my hand and he was able to lay his whole spine on the floor. So during different supine exercises like this, it's really common for people to get fatigued during these exercises, and then the low back comes off the floor, and then that's when people say oh, I feel this in my back. Obviously not where you're supposed to feel it. So it's okay to take a break. The abdominal muscles that engage to keep your low back on the floor are pretty small and they fatigue easily, especially at first when you're coaching people through these exercises. So it's okay to take breaks throughout your sets. So I'm going to have Josh perform a straight leg raise so you can bring both legs out in front of you. So step one, push your back into the floor. Now can you raise your legs to my hands and back down? Good, rest. Push your low back into the floor, legs up and down, relax. One more time, back into the floor, legs up and relax. Good. And so you can tell as you're going through these exercises, if your client's back starts coming off the floor and just stays there, it's time to either stop the set and move on and give them time to recover. Or if you've been stringing a few reps together, it's time to take a break, let them reset and gain some more energy and then go back to your set. So another common exercise that is not performed correctly I see by people, which includes abdominal engagement, is a bird dog. So go ahead onto all fours, please. Okay, so go ahead and just show me what you think a bird dog is. Good. So I don't know if you guys can tell, if you were looking at his low back, and you can rewind a little bit if you need to. Low back started arching at the end range of motion of both his arm and his leg, which is how most people perform this. The correct way we learn in physical therapy school is to stop at the range of motion where you are able to keep your back in neutral. And just because you can't get into a full range of motion doesn't mean it's right or wrong or whatever. It's just where your body is able to control your range of motion. So an easy way to coach someone through this is to put a PVC pipe from their head to their bottom. There we go. And you can hold it, of course, because some people have a little bit of a diagonal anatomy. So I want you to extend your arm and your leg, keep your spine in neutral. Don't let the pole roll off of you. Nice and slow. There you go. Stop. Come back. There you go. And switch. And stop. Come back. Good. We'll do one more time. Stop. There you go. And another on the other side. Yeah, relax. Good. So essentially, we want our clients to think about keeping the pole in contact with their whole spine from their head to their sacrum during that whole movement in order to keep the spine neutral. It's just like a physical external cue for them in order to properly engage the muscles during that exercise. Go ahead and stand, please, Josh. So now, of course, it's great for our clients to be able to perform exercises in here properly, but then when they get into the real world, like suddenly everybody forgets about what we've taught them in here. So it's really important for us to kind of build that bridge for our clients and make the strength that they build in here applicable to their real life activities. So do you remember that feeling that you got when you pressed your low back into the floor? So I like to do this with like initial consultations. So I'll definitely, the very first thing I do is have people do that posterior pelvic and anterior pelvic tilt so that they know what that feels like in their core. And of course, have them redo that at the end of the initial consultation to see if like it feels any different with their everyday activities like walking. So go ahead back onto the treadmill. And I want you to think about that feeling that you had when you were on the floor, tucking your hips to the ground. And of course, Josh is an unfair demonstratee because of just like how he is, and he knows how to engage his core when he's walking. But for a lot of clients, it will feel significantly different, and or they'll be like, "Oh, I like never thought about that," and that will like hopefully carry forward. But it'll definitely carry forward into your other sessions with them. Good. Go ahead and come down. I'm going to just show you one more thing to apply to different exercises that we do. So super common shoulder press, everybody does that. We're gonna do a standing shoulder press just so we can work on the core activation that we went over today. So go ahead and grab the 20s. Very common with this particular exercise is people get fatigued. You'll either see them like leaning back to get their last few reps or like arching their back, maybe both. Whatever your clients do, this is like a great carryover for them into different exercises. So let's just do a few facing the camera and then we'll do a few sideways. So go ahead and do, yep, keep that core nice and tight, engage those muscles that you were doing on the floor and press. Good. One more here. Good. Can you turn and face me? And then watch his back and see how it's not arching. His core is nice and engaged throughout the whole movement. Good. And just like we were doing with the leg lifts on the floor, it's important that if you see your client getting fatigued, it's okay to take breaks. These muscles in the core are just as important as the muscles that you're using with the dumbbells. So really important to engage all the muscles during every activity. That's it for today.